Welcome to 5 Good Minutes.
You're listening to today's inspirational message
On the book of Romans with Kurt Bjorklund.
Romans 8 moves from this idea of being in step with the Spirit to kind of saying those who are led by the Spirit, this is verse 14, of God are the children of God. So now he's saying, okay, you've been led by the Spirit, and you are God's children. The Spirit you received does not make you slaves so that you live in fear again. Rather, the Spirit you received brought about your adoption to sonship. Now, some versions try to kind of take the sonship out of this. And I heard somebody years ago talk about this, and they said, you know, it's unfortunate because sonship was unique in the ancient world in a way. And so to talk about adoption of sons was really saying you have full right to being an heir, full right to family kind of business transactions. A daughter did not. And so there's something rich about the image of son. And this person who was talking about this and saying, don't shy away from the son image, also said, but don't forget you're also called the bride of Christ. And don't shy away from that image either. These images aren't meant to restrict gender as much as they are to show the fullness of God's embrace of his people. So on one hand, you're the bride of Christ, celebrated, loved, cherished, willing to die for. And then you're also a son who have full capacity to transact business for the family, a full heir, full legal standing in every way. This is the image that is used in Romans. And here when he talks about adoption to sonship, he is helping us understand that this is something that is even more beautiful in some ways than simply being a natural born child. Because an adopted child, like a natural born child, almost has to be accepted by the parents in the sense of, well, you're my child now, and so I'm going to. But an adopted child, the parent chooses to extend all of these benefits to the person who does not deserve it. And so this is the image that is used here. And verse 17, he says, now if we're children, we're heirs, and if heirs of God, co-heirs with Christ, if indeed we share in his sufferings, in order that we may share in his glory. And so the beauty of this picture is the way in which Paul is writing about this, and he says, once you've understood that there's no condemnation and you're being led by the Spirit, now understand that God has also adopted you, and in this adoption, he has made you exactly who you need to be. Now imagine for a moment that somebody gets adopted, and let's just pick somebody wealthy today who's, maybe well known. Let's just say, and this is maybe not helpful, but let's just say that Elon Musk says, hey, I'm going to adopt you as my child. Now, you'd say, well, he doesn't need to. He's got lots of children, or whatever your statement is. But there's no question, Elon Musk is well off. Can you imagine saying to Elon, if you were adopted into his family as a child, you know what, I don't want any part of what you have to offer me, because I don't agree with your politics. I don't like your cars. I don't like your demeanor. I don't like the way you were with other children. Now, in reality, that might actually make some sense for some of you to say, you know what, I would rather make it on my own than take anything from you. But for most people, what they would say is, wow, I have been given an amazing opportunity here to live a different life than I would live otherwise. But here's the difference. Elon Musk is flawed, as is any human father who can adopt you. But God the Father is perfect, and he adopts you so that when you take on that identity, you don't take on the negatives, you don't take on any of the baggage, but instead you take on the beauty and the acceptance of what God has done. And I believe that this is intended to serve as a motivation to say, what child who would be adopted by the King of the universe would not want to live in alignment with the King of the universe? And so it's really an invitation to say, live up to the status that you've been given by God himself.
Thanks for joining us here today. There's a lot of great content to explore on Orchard Hill Plus and on the Orchard Hill main feed from the weekend. Have a great day.